Welcome to the deep dive. So glad you're joining us for another journey into some truly fascinating material. You know that feeling when you come across a powerful text, maybe a new piece of research, or even like an old story you thought you knew, and you just sense there's so much more beneath the surface.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
that's exactly what we're here for. Today we're taking a deep dive into an incredibly rich source, excerpts from MCS Mark chapter 5.
Hmm.
And our mission, really, is to kind of extract the powerful nuggets of knowledge within these accounts. We want to offer you some hopefully surprising insights, maybe a fresh perspective on events you think you already know.
Absolutely. In this deep dive, it's really all about exploring this profound concept of complete divine authority. We see it demonstrated through three remarkable, quite distinct events in Mark chapter 5.
Right.
Our material really sets out to show us how this authority, it extends over the spiritual realm, over physical ailments, and even over death itself. So yeah, it's a journey into understanding not just what happened in these ancient stories, but why they still matter today and what they really reveal about power, belief, and maybe the unexpected ways divine intervention can, well, show up.
Okay, let's unpack this. We're going to jump right in. Let's start our journey across the lake into a territory that really sets the stage for our first encounter. So our first stop takes us to the region of the Gerasenes. That's part of the Decapolis, east of the Jordan River. The text tells us Jesus and his Talmidim, his disciples, they arrived in this area.
Right. And what's immediately striking here is the context. I mean, this wasn't Jewish territory. It was a Gentile area.
Okay.
And literally, as soon as Jesus steps off the boat, he's met by this man, described as having an unclean spirit, living among the burial caves. Now, for a Jewish audience, our source points out, this would have been considered an unclean place.
Right, deeply unclean.
It's almost like Jesus is stepping directly into the heart of, well, spiritual darkness and uncleanness the second he arrives.
And this wasn't just any man. The description, it's really intense. Superhuman strength, snapping chains, breaking irons.
Right.
He's wandering night and day among the graves, howling, gashing himself with stones. It sounds like something straight out of a, horror film.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
And the material we're looking at, it points to two key characteristics of, let's say, demonic influence in this man. First, this profound restlessness, like a complete lack of peace, which the source notes is not of God. And second, self-harm, which powerfully reinforces this idea that the devil's purpose is to kill and destroy. There's this constant awful torment. Interestingly, our source even draws a kind of parallel here to the heroes of old, men of renown, from Genesis 6, sort of suggesting that, power can be demonstrated, but that doesn't automatically mean it's from God.
Interesting point. But here's where it gets really fascinating, I think. Despite his tormented state, this man runs towards Jesus, falls to his knees, and the demon or demons inside him screams, acknowledging Jesus as Son of God Halion, the Most High God, and actually pleading not to be tortured.
It's an astonishing moment, isn't it? Recognition from the forces of darkness itself.
It really is.
And what's fascinating, too, is that Jesus then converses with them, asking the man's name.
Right. Why do that?
Well, the reply comes back, Legion, because there are so many of us. And this raises that profound question, like you said. Why the dialogue? Our material emphasizes that these demons, despite all their power, they had to ask permission to do anything, even just to be sent into a large herd of pigs nearby. That whole interaction powerfully demonstrates Jesus's complete, unchallenged authority over all spiritual realms, even over beings trying to inflict chaos.
And what happens next with those pigs? It's pretty dramatic. The text says around 2,000 of them.
30,000, yeah.
And with permission granted, they just rush down the steep hillside into the lake and drown. The swineherds, well, they're terrified, obviously.
Understandably.
They flee. Word spreads like wildfire, and people from the towns nearby come out to see what on earth happened.
And what do they find? They find the man who is possessed, not raving in the tombs, but actually sitting there, dressed, and in his right mind.
A total transformation.
An undeniable transformation. But instead of rejoicing, our source points out that the people were actually frightened.
Frightened? Why?
Well, they begged Jesus to leave their district. It highlights this recurring human thing, doesn't it? Often people might want physical relief, a fix for an immediate problem.
Sure.
But they want no part of the deeper spiritual implications, especially when it challenges their comfort zone or, their way of life.
But the man who was healed, he wanted to go with Jesus. He wanted to follow him.
Yes, he he did.
But instead, Jesus gives him this powerful, maybe unexpected instruction. Go home to your people and tell them how much Adonai and his mercy has done for you.
And this is such a crucial takeaway for us. Our material describes this as one of the key effects of being saved. First, there's that powerful desire to be near Jesus,
Right.
to follow him.
Right.
And second, there's this distinct calling to share your testimony, just out of sheer gratitude and obedience.
Makes sense.
And the man doesn't hesitate. He goes and proclaims what Jesus had done all through the Decapolis. And the text says everyone was amazed. It wasn't about his own glory, but about God's glorification, making that miracle known.
Okay, so as Jesus crosses back over the lake, another great crowd gathers, right? And he's met by a synagogue official named Jairus. Now, this is quite a curveball, isn't it?
It really is,
Yeah.
because, religious leaders typically oppose Jesus.
Exactly.
But here comes one pleading, begging for his daughter who's at the point of death. So again, we see this initial focus on a desperate physical need. And Jesus just demonstrates this profound love for your neighbor, maybe even, as some sources say, love for your enemy,
Yeah.
by simply going with him, despite all the usual antagonism. And amidst this huge pressing crowd, I mean, you can just picture it.
Yeah.
Our deep dive introduces us to another remarkable figure, a woman who had suffered from a hemorrhage for 12 long years.
12 years. That's an incredibly long time to suffer, especially with something that would have made her ceremonially unclean, right? Isolated her.
Completely isolated her, yeah. And she'd been to, the text says, many physicians, spent all her life savings.
Wow.
And it had only grown worse. Our source also points out that number 12, it often seems associated with divine authority throughout the Bible. Think 12 tribes, 12 disciples.
Interesting connection.
Yeah, and she comes to Jesus just out of sheer, absolute desperation.
Her approach, though, it's such a profound display of quiet faith. She'd heard about Jesus, somehow managed to get up behind him in that dense crowd, and simply reached out and touched his robe, believing, if I touch even his clothes, I will be healed.
And instantly the hemorrhaging stopped. She felt it, the change in her body, right then.
So what does this tell us? I mean, the material we're looking at emphasizes there was no big healing service, no, scheduled event,
Right.
no donation or anything else but faith. It was her faith, this singular, quiet act that unleashed this incredible power.
Precisely. And Jesus felt it immediately. Power had gone out from him, the text says. And he asks, who touched my clothes?
Which must have sounded crazy to the disciples in that crowd.
Exactly. They didn't get it. How could one touch stand out? But as our source explains, it was the power of a touch of faith. And this kind of faith, it argues, is what sets us apart from the rest of the world. Her individual faith made her touch uniquely significant.
So the woman, frightened and trembling because she knew exactly what had happened, she reveals herself, tells her whole truth, and Jesus affirms her. Daughter, your trust has healed you. Go in peace and be healed of your disease.
It's such a powerful demonstration, isn't it? Jesus' authority, not just spiritually, but profoundly in the physical realm, too.
Well,
doctors couldn't help. She'd exhausted every resource, but her deep faith in him provided the cure. It just shows so clearly that the power of God is truly unleashed when we step out in faith, just like she did.
Okay, but then, right as Jesus is still speaking with her, this devastating news arrives from Jairus' house. Your daughter has died. Why bother the rabbi any longer?
Yeah, the messengers had just given up hope. Completely.
It raises that question, doesn't it? Have you or someone you know ever felt like hope was just gone in a situation?
It's a tough place to be. Our source kind of challenges us here. Think about those moments when people have maybe given up on us or we've given up on someone else.
Yeah.
But Jesus' response to Jairus in the middle of that despair, it's so direct, so comforting. Don't be afraid. Just keep trusting. And the material really underlines this, saying, if we trust in him and understand that he has complete authority, then it is not too late.
It is not too late. Wow. So when they arrive at the house, there's already great commotion, people weeping, wailing loudly, the typical scene of intense mourning.
Right.
Jesus, though, he only allows Peter, James, and John to follow him inside. Why just those three, do you think?
Well, the assumption, based on our material, is that he wanted them to see and learn more about his authority, maybe in a more intimate setting.
Okay.
And inside, Jesus asks, why all this commotion and weeping? The child isn't dead, she's just asleep. Which, as our source points out, is such a classic example of Jesus teaching by asking questions, challenging their immediate perception of, finality.
And the crowd, They jeered at him. They literally laughed in his face. It's just astonishing.
It is. And their laughter, it just reveals their limited understanding, doesn't it? They jeered precisely because they didn't realize his authority even extends to life and death. Our source adds that powerful, really foundational statement here. It's not over until Jesus says it's over. Their mockery just highlights the huge gap between their understanding and his divine power.
So he puts all the mourners outside, takes the child's father and mother and his 3 disciples, goes to the child, takes her hand, and simply says, Talita kumi, which means, little girl, I say to you, get up.
And what's truly fascinating there is the sheer simplicity. Like you said, no big show, no elaborate ritual.
Yeah.
Just a command.
Right.
Our source makes a really crucial point about this. God is using many signs and wonders in these last days, but we must remember that the display of God's power is not to be a big show. It says that is not how Jesus worked, and it is not what he wants from us. It was direct, humble, yet utterly powerful.
And the result, at once the girl got up and began walking around. She's 12 years old. Everybody was utterly amazed. I mean, can you imagine being there?
Utterly amazed is probably an understatement. And this is the third miracle, right? It completes this remarkable demonstration of Jesus' complete authority, even reversing death itself. Our material also points again to her being 12 years old. That detail, it calls it the age of accountability. And for listeners familiar with biblical interpretation, that detail often sparks discussions about a child's moral understanding, their relationship with God. It resonates with passages like Matthew 19.14.
Makes sense.
It also reminds us that Jesus called her a little girl, emphasizing her innocence, her vulnerability.
And then finally, Jesus gives them strict orders to say nothing about this to anyone. Probably, like the source suggests, to manage the crowds just seeking physical healing.
Yeah. Wow.
And then this simple but profoundly human instruction, give her something to eat.
It's such a beautiful, deeply practical detail, isn't it? Our material really highlights this. Jesus gives life, yes, but he also tells us to take care of it. When we receive new life through him, our source suggests he expects us to feed ourselves too so that we will be healthy. And that speaks to both physical and spiritual health. You know, the need for nourishment, feeding on God's word, taking practical care of the life we've been given physically and spiritually until we're called home.
So, wow. We've journeyed through these 3 incredible accounts from Mark chapter 5. We've seen Jesus' authority demonstrated over the spiritual, the physical, and even death itself. Each story, really, in its own way, it challenges our assumptions about limits, about possibilities, revealing these deep insights into divine power.
Indeed. We've seen how, like, a quiet, desperate faith, even just a single touch, can unleash immense power.
Right.
I've explored that subtle but profound difference between just seeking physical solutions and maybe embracing deeper spiritual truths, and the surprising ways people react, even to miracles.
Yeah, that fear.
Exactly. And we've grappled with this idea that even when all human hope seems utterly lost, trust in a higher authority can genuinely redefine what's too late.
So this deep dive, it really reveals this consistent theme, doesn't it? That these seemingly insurmountable problems, whether internal battles, long-standing physical issues, or even the finality of death, they're all subject to a complete higher authority. So as you reflect on this, what does it truly mean for you to grasp this idea of complete authority in your own life? You know, how might understanding this shift your perspective on what's truly possible, or where genuine lasting solutions might actually lie?
Yeah, and what really stands out to you most from these specific accounts? Is it the sheer power of that faith we saw? The undeniable nature of divine authority? Or maybe those unexpected reactions of the people who witnessed it all? It's worth considering how these ancient stories still echo, in the challenges and the possibilities we all face in our world today.
Definitely something powerful to chew on, right? Until next time, keep digging, keep asking questions, and keep seeking those aha moments.